What's up, everybody? You're listening to idobi Warped Radio here on idobi Radio with your host, Fish. I'm very excited to have the super group, the main stage artists, Girlfriends, here on idobi Warped Radio, and for the first time ever doing an interview in person with them. What's up?
Dude, took us long enough. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. I'm stoked we made it happen.
Yeah, we're here. We're ready.
I feel like we've been talking about it since before California came out, basically.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for 5 years.
Since before we started the band. Yeah.
You guys were like, yeah, we're going to premiere everything with you. Never came on the show.
Dude, well, we're here now, man. We're making up for lost time.
Hell yeah. So I'm very excited right now to have Travis Mills and Nick Gross with me. They are known as Girlfriends. And man, you guys just played the main stage in Long Beach. You played the main stage in DC. You guys are Warped Tour veterans yourselves in other capacities. So let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it.
Dude, Travis, you've played Warped Tour a handful of different times. And I remember the most iconic one, just looking at the schedule. I still have the screenshot. Shows up every year on my time hop. It was you, MGK, Mod Sun, G-Eazy, all on the same Warped Tour lineup.
Yeah, dude, we kind of took over 2012 that year. But also it was like, I think the Main was on that one. I think Newfound Glory was on 2012.
Nice. Taking Back Sunday too.
Taking Back Sunday. Like,
what an epic lineup.
Dude, it was the best summer, one of the best summers of my life.
I can imagine. And it's crazy, one, because you weren't a pop punk artist by any means at that time. And it seems like at that time was when the little shift in Warped Tour is happening and you made Warped Tour your own.
Dude, I appreciate it. I mean, well, it was crazy because I was in pop punk bands my whole life. Then I got a laptop with GarageBand. Then I started making like emo scene rap music. And then that kind of blew up, and so then it was like only fitting. Like my first live show ever as T Mills was Warped Tour 2009.
No way.
In a tent.
Holy shit.
To like 8 people. Yeah.
It's a great story though, how he built kind of his fan base through Warped Tour by performing in tents. I mean, right?
Dude,
that's how it all started.
Yeah, like literally like posted a MySpace thing of like, be here at Warped Tour in this clothing company's tent. Kevin Lyman is the best because he didn't kick me off. I was like selling merch for a clothing company, and the deal with them was they weren't going to pay me, but every day I could like bring my gear into their clothing tent and like play a set. But I only had like 4 or 5 songs, so it was like a 20-minute set, and then I had to go back to selling t-shirts.
I think it just goes to show the type of person you are, because I feel like after like 2009 and after 2012, all I heard was T-Mills everywhere. And I think it has to do not only with the music, but the person you are and the hang you are.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. I mean, dude, I'm just stoked to be here. And like, I took a hiatus off of music, and Nick actually played drums for this Christmas like toy drive show that we did in 2015. And that was the first show that you and I ever did together in a different capacity. I took a hiatus, and then like 4 years later called Nick and was like, dude, I want to start something like different. And I was like, should we start a band? And he's like, come to the studio, let's listen to some music. And that's how Girlfriends started.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah.
And I just got a couple more questions before we go into Nick's history, because Nick has such an extensive history of playing drums. And not only did he play drums with Girlfriends at Warped Tour, we'll get into that a little bit more.
Double decker, dude. Double duties.
It's like it was the Nick Gross stage.
Dude, he took over main stage for sure.
It was fun.
So now you said you took a hiatus from music. That's the first time I heard that you took a hiatus from music, because in my head, when I first moved here, you were at things like Emo Night every single month, just supporting the culture and being around it. So talk about not making music and still being around and being embedded in this scene and in this culture.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's what happens when you make songs when you're 19 or 20 years old, and then you get older, and I feel like you evolve and mature as a human, which is inevitably what happened. And it was just stuff I didn't really relate to anymore. At the same time, it was like, yeah, I was branching out and doing other things. Like I had a Netflix show. I started hosting my Apple Music show, and I was just like, I'm just going to take a back seat, put all this on hold, and see what else is out there. But then I started producing and writing for other artists, and was like really successful with that as well. I was kind of developing artists and finding, people that I loved and just trying to help any way that I could. And then when I started seeing success and all that, I'm like, man, I really miss making music, which is why we started Girlfriends.
Definitely. And it's really cool to see Nick playing Warped Tour now, because I got introduced to Nick for the first time, I think in 2017, maybe?
I think so.
2016, 2017. Yeah. There was former band Half the Animal.
Oh, yeah. Right.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. Because, I think like 2/3 of the Animal plays with Girlfriends sometimes.
Yeah.
2/3 of the It's more than half.
More than half.
More than half, not exactly 100%, but that was by no means the first band that Nick's played in. Like we all watched Nick sign a major label deal back in the day, I believe, on TV on this little show Laguna Beach.
Yeah,
well,
I remember that, dude. I watched the show.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it until after Half the Animal came in, actually, funny enough. But talk about that a little bit, just like kind of having to grow up in the spotlight like that, and then kind of taking a little bit more of a backseat coming back into it.
Yeah, I mean, my first band I ever started was a group called Stool Pigeon, STUL Pigeon.
What kind of music?
It was just like rock music. We were heavily influenced by like, you know, Foo Fighters. Incubus was a huge one for us. Like it was just kind of this rock project. And all of us grew up in Laguna Beach. So we were young kids. We first started like, you know, we would bus kids up to the Roxy Theater. We would pack like two charter buses full of kids, bring them up to the Roxy Theater for shows, and kind of created this buzz and energy around the city. And changed the name to Open Air Stereo when I think I was like 15 or 16 years old. We got approached by MTV, MTV Laguna Beach, when the show was happening, and they featured our band as a character on the show. You know, and that led to our first record deal with Sony Epic when I was like 17. 2 weeks before I started, was supposed to go to college. 2 weeks before I started at college, I get this record deal, and I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm not going to college.
Hey, I'm going to be in a band.
I'm going to be in a rock band. And that was like, I don't know, that was my dream since I was 5 years old, was to play drums and be in a band and be successful and have fun doing it. And it kind of happened, you know, just through that manifestation and focus and energy. Like I put all my energy, just like kids would do for sports, I would do that for music, you know? And so to see that work out at 17 was awesome. And then the journey started from there of just different bands, and Half the Animal he mentioned was one of them, which was same singer from Open Air Stereo, a couple different guys, and all the way to Girlfriends, which has been the best project to date.
Hell yeah. Now, was that a super California thing to do back in the day? Obviously, Travis, I just found out Travis grew up in Riverside.
Riverside, California, IE, baby.
Crazy that I thought you were from Florida for some.
That's the wildest thing ever. Maybe just because I was crazy back in the day. I had some Florida man tendencies.
Yeah.
But I interviewed Alien Ant Farm back in the day. They were also from Riverside.
100%, dude. They're IE legends.
Wow.
Travis Barker's from Fontana.
No way.
Huge IE guy. Suicide Silence. Rest in peace to Mitch. IE Corona, California. Like that whole scene was what I grew up in, and there was a venue out there called Showcase Theater. It's not around anymore, but there's a really cool documentary on YouTube and like Vimeo, I think. But dude, I saw every single show that was there. Like I was there Friday, I was there Saturday, every single weekend. And I saw bands like Converge, Suicide. Like I watched them play in front of no one to obviously just becoming one of the biggest bands ever. Between the Buried and me, like I went to just every hardcore and death metal show I could.
That's wild.
Goldfinger played Showcase Theater, and one of my friends, Kevin, has a photo because they did an album cover with all the fans on stage. And my friend Kevin is hopped on stage, and he's in the Goldfinger photo.
Wow.
So tight.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a scene down there because Alien Ant Farm didn't really talk about that scene. They talked about how they used to bus their friends from Riverside up to the Sunset Strip for their shows at the Whiskey.
Yep.
And
same concept.
Yeah, what Hyde used to be back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look, LA was always like, it's an hour and a half away, so you obviously can go there. You can go to like the big shows, but like that scene out there was so, I don't know, just DIY, and you know, everyone really pulling together. And you know, some of my first shows I ever went to were in people's backyards. Like I went to backyard shows, I went to garage shows. We played a show in a parking lot of a mattress store. Like it's a little grimy, but dude, it's the best memories ever.
Cool.
That's crazy. Now, geographically, have no knowledge of anything, but given you guys grew up on the same coast, in the same time zone, at least I know that much, between Riverside and Laguna Beach, did you guys ever compare your upbringings in the scene, and kind of, did you guys ever intersect on a show back in the day?
I don't think I ever like ran into each other. We didn't really know of each other, I guess, until I don't know.
Yeah, I met Nick at a studio, and we got connected like through a friend, and it turned out that I had been working at your studio without even knowing you.
Yeah.
And then that's how and he had like a quarter pipe right in front of like the front door, and so like I'd go there and just like try to skate it really like shittily.
Dude, we took over this like 1,200 square foot building that was like the creepiest, weird production studio of all time. We turned it into this like punk rock, like no one cared if you spilled stuff all over the carpets kind of vibe.
Dude,
it was like this little house with 3 studios that we built. It was called Stars Enterprises at the time. And yeah, Travis had just started filming his show, and it was right next door to the studio. So he would come over, and that's kind of how we just like we connected through that. That was probably maybe a year or two before our first show in 2015 for your project.
Damn.
Yeah, but I never like ran into him. I mean, very similar, like just being in bands since we were kids and, you know, doing whatever we could to play shows. But I don't think, I bet you in some world, we were at the same show together without even knowing it.
Yeah. Had to have been.
Yeah.
It's like you have to go through all the flyers, and you're going to find something like a local band showcase of like 15 different bands on there.
Dude, I wish I kept all that stuff, man, because it would just be so cool to look at. Same thing with tees, like all the band tees that I had growing up.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is to see that effect on, you know, the kids in the scene now who are going on Depop and buying these shirts that like we all had when we were 16 that we'd buy for like $20 at a merch table. They're paying like $80 on Depop.
We didn't know what we had.
Like, yeah.
We didn't know what we had.
Like, why would you ever get rid of that? It's like, dude, I wore that shirt to do chores in. It had like holes in it. It was also a size small. Like, I've grown a little bit.
The crop top era is
it's true.
That was the Cheetos crop top era, dude.
So now that you guys have known each other through so many different projects and done so many different projects, what's the main thing that makes girlfriends for you guys?
Great question. I think it's the fact that it really is like a yin and yang. And we've talked about this before, but like, just even like, you know, when it comes down to the music, the way that my ears work, like I'm like a lyric and melody guy. I always have been. That's what makes me like love songs. It's like the words. And Nick is like just so smart when it comes, if there's like a hi-hat double, like that's different from like V1 to V2, he'll notice it. And it's stuff that I can't even comprehend. And so I think it's the fact that we give each other space to like be good at what we're good at.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, like Travis and I both come from our different pasts as being previous artists and a lot of different things, and grew up in the scene of all this stuff. And like, I think being able to collectively now share that past and that history in what Girlfriends is, to combine both of like my last 25 years and Travis's last 25 years and take those learnings and those experiences into this project, I think is what makes it so special and unique, and why we're seeing it start to work. And like I tell people, my last 5 years in music has been my most exciting time I've ever had as a musician and as an artist, you know. And like, I never thought that was ever possible until Girlfriends started, because it opened up this like world that just has felt so natural that I've never been able to tap into before until this project started and I met Travis. So,
well, dude, we're also playing like the biggest shows of our entire lives. Yeah. Which is crazy, you know, because obviously when I took a hiatus, like I thought it was over. Like I was like, I tried, it kind of, you know, didn't go the way that I hoped, like kind of felt like a loser. Like, you know, I was just like, all right,
on to the next.
And then the fact that like we're able to do this and build this thing and like go out and play in front of 30,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, with a relatively like new band, it's just
with the bands that we grew up listening to, you know, be a part of it. I never thought it would be possible, to be honest. I was always like hopeful that something like that would happen, but you never know until you find it. And now that we found this, it's like, it's almost like such a relief, you know?
I also think it's something that you can't really plan.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
You just gotta like, I think if your intentions are good and if you are true to like yourself and the stuff that you're making and you're making it with the right people, inevitably those kind of moments will happen. And then it's like, are you ready to kind of capitalize on those, learn from the mistakes that you made in the past and like build something really great?
That's awesome. And Nick, was 2019 the first time you played Warped Tour?
2019 was my first time playing Warped Tour. I played with Goldfinger at
Mountain View,
San Francisco, Mountain View Amphitheater. That was a blast. Like, had no idea what to expect. It was when I first started to play with Goldfinger too, so it was like probably my 5th show with them.
Oh, holy shit.
We show up to the main stage, we're setting up. There's like, probably 2,000 people at the main stage, and I'm kind of thinking, oh, this would be interesting. Like, you think there'd be more people here? As the stage is turning, because they had like the turning stages at that point where you'd set up behind and then it would start to rotate, and then we came out, place was like 30,000 full. It was just stacked. And that's the John Feldman effect, right? Of like what he can do and the impact he's had across like all these bands at Warped Tour. And he's like the nucleus of it all, right? And so
He's the mayor of Warped Tour.
He's the mayor of Warped Tour. So to see that was like my first experience at Warped Tour, and I was like, I'm hooked. I hope this continues.
The most energetic person at Warped Tour too. He's
John?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
He's more energized than the fans come.
By the way, and like head to toe in a full suit.
Full suit.
Yeah, like tie, I mean, everything.
And to this day, still putting out bangers every single week.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I always trip out. I ask Feldy all the time, I'm like, dude, how do you write at least a song a day every single day and just like stay inspired? Because it's like, yeah, dude, the dude's been doing it forever. He's made all of our favorite albums that we grew up listening to and is still doing that.
Yup. It's crazy. Like the new Goldfinger Mark Hoppus track is so fucking good.
So fun. That's a fun
really
one to
good.
play.
Yeah.
It's a fun one to play.
It's really good.
It's a really good one. So now in 2019, as the set's ending and everything, obviously there's a huge chant for you in the middle of the set as well. One Nut Nick chant that
I was hopeful that wouldn't get brought up again, but yeah, here we are. Let's go.
But did you ever think you were coming back to Warped Tour with your own project to play for just as many, if not more people?
With girlfriends, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know until it happens, but to have both of those projects come together like this for the first time was obviously really special, and like super grateful to be able to share that with girlfriends, but then also with Feldy and Goldfinger. 2 different sets, 2 different energies, but
An hour apart.
Same stage. Yeah.
but also so similar, and yeah, just fun to play with 2 different drum kits and like different things. So it was like a pinch me moment, super special. And who knows if it happens again? I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I can imagine it'll definitely be happening a lot in the future. Given the response of this past weekend.
It was so cool. It was so, I mean, dude, I still get like nervous, like walking backstage to Nick's point about, 2019 and like his first Warped experience, even in Long Beach, like getting set up. It's like, okay, cool. There's like 1,000 people out there. I'm like, oh. And then literally as soon as we walk out on stage, it's just full. I think that's just Warped Tour though.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, and that's what I love about it. It's like people are there to watch and listen to music and just like have the best time.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a really cool thing and a very cool community that gets built. And I've been talking about the super group that you guys have built together, Girlfriends, just the on the recording side of things, because you guys have had so many incredible, successful projects in the past. We're going to get into some more side projects that you guys do as well, because I'm very inspired by everything you guys do on the side and able to put Girlfriends so face forward to everything and put out such great music all the time.
Thanks, man.
Of course. So obviously you're only 2 guys. You need more guys on stage or girls on stage to make the show possible. And you guys have had a rotating cast of guitarists. And Dan Graham going on to play for, Post Malone.
Shout out
Chelsea
Dan Graham.
Cutler, Shabuzi, Mike Naring going on to play for Panic at the Disco. Dan Garrity, who's played a couple shows, I found out. I thought he was in for more, but he played for Nessa Barrett, 21 Pilots. Then you decided to bring 2 guitarists for Warped Long Beach for the first time. You brought out Mike and Dan Graham for it.
Yeah, dude. It was the first time that we've ever done that.
2's better than 1. Give it a shot. It was though. It was like
amazing.
It was a fun thing to piece together for us, because we've always just brought out one guitar player. Travis plays guitar as well, but as the live show for Girlfriends expands and develops a bit more, and we kind of think about what are the things that we want to do from a live experience perspective, and to have 2 guitar players, I think for us, like filled out the stage in a cool way. I've never played drums behind Travis before. It's always been like kind of the 21 Pilots thing where the drums are close and at an angle. So that was different. That was the first time we ever did that.
Yeah, I barely even got to see you. Usually like Nick and I are like looking at each other the whole set. I'll like hop up on his drum riser. Yeah. He was like behind me and I'm just like, oh, this is weird.
It was weird. But yeah, fun to have two kind of dueling guitar players the whole set. It was a vibe.
And I mean, just the talent between the four of you guys. Like Nick is like one of the best drummers I see play live. Like when I see you play the parts in Goldfinger, that's where I'm just like, holy shit. Because I know nothing about drums. I just know that they use an alt snare in Superman.
Yeah.
At some point or another, they're like, he hits that alt snare like no one else can.
Yeah.
Dude,
Side snare.
the coolest thing about touring, and like, and when you're on the road with like other artists, is literally after every show, someone else in like the touring crews, other bands will be like, dude, you guys have the best drummer in the world. And I'm like,
Oh, thanks, boys.
I'm like,
Thanks, boys.
I know.
Oh man, I remember seeing you guys last summer at Jones Beach Amphitheater, my hometown amphitheater.
Were you there?
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, that was on the Avril tour.
Yeah. That was like my favorite amphitheater.
Dude, such a beautiful amphitheater.
It was insane.
I brought you guys blueberry bagels.
Yeah. And by the way, and we ate those for like 2 weeks, and then our bus driver started stealing them and just eating the bagels from
Yeah.
us.
We also went fishing. Remember out in Jones Beach?
We did.
That's a cool place.
That was a cool show though, and I got to fly I flew my grandma, I flew my mom and my dad out to that show, so they got to like see just everything that entailed, and getting to play a show in a venue like that on the water is like bucket list stuff.
Yeah, it's super cool and just so much history at that venue. And I want to bring it up because obviously you guys have toured basically the world now with Avril, and you guys have done so many incredible tours. You guys have only been a band since 2021. That's less than 5 years.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people get to do that. So, I mean, you guys have 50 million other business ventures. How do you have time to tour the world with girlfriends so many times since 2021?
Yeah, I guess for me, I get energy off of, having multiple things going on at the same time. And it's been really cool to see how other ventures in business, even in music, starting a label with Feldy, those kind of things can intersect with what we do as girlfriends. I look at it like a big platform where we can start to leverage, whether it's different companies I'm a part of, things I've started, stuff that Travis does. It's another upside for girlfriends where it's like we can leverage each other's platforms outside of music and within music to create, more opportunity, I guess, for the band. That's kind of how I look at it. So yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I have an education venture called Find Your Grind that does some really cool stuff for kids, a lot of curriculum software in schools. So it's a really fun team where we get to help kids kind of think through, who they want to be, where they want to go in life. So it's a super inspiring mission, but fun company I've been working on since 2017, which actually started through live events. We did tours across the entire country, but it wasn't music. It was like showing up to schools and speaking to kids.
Oh, no way.
So it was like, and then we did a college tour called FYGU Fest, which was like bringing music on top of the educational component of getting kids inspired about what their next steps can look like. Everyone from like Amazon to TikTok to Adidas that came in to partner on those festivals. So it was like, there's been a lot of cool history with Find Your Grind that hasn't just been in education. We bring the music stuff into that. Big Noise actually built out that festival property for us. So that was an internal thing that we launched. So it's stuff like that where it's like, how do you find the synergies across what Travis and I both do to help see where it makes sense for girlfriends,
Yeah, I feel like too, when we started this band, it was like, I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else, because if anyone understands a packed calendar, it's this guy. And like I am the same way. And so to have that kind of that drive and just the want to put girlfriends like at the front on top of all the other stuff that we're doing, it's like you have to. It's like you can't be in a band with a dude that sleeps until 2 p.m. and like doesn't want to wake up and like go to band practice, right? Like you want someone that's like equally as driven as you are. And it's like, I'm so grateful that I found someone like that in Nick. And whether it's my MTV show and I'm on the road filming, but like I can wear a girlfriend's jacket or like a girlfriend's hoodie that then leads to someone who watches the show to like go and discover our music, which happens all the time, dude. It's so cool. Like people come up to the meet and greet and it's like, hey, I watch your show. I didn't even know you were in a band. And then I saw the shirt you were wearing and I went and listened to the music. And now like you guys are my favorite band and I bought a ticket to be here. That's awesome. Having my Apple Music show, which I've had since 2018. And it's like, I'd say 90% of the artists that I get to talk to, I've known just from being in the scene and being, you know, backstage at shows and like being in the studio and making music together. So I think to Nick's point, it's like everything that we do, it's like this nucleus of just music and our love for it. And it's just kind of like one hand washes the other.
I mean, it's so cool to be able to have, you know, an internal label that we get to make creative decisions on, and, you know, what it kind of starts and stops with us, right? In the room of what we want to put out and what we feel comfortable doing and the creative direction of things. And, you know, we don't have some kind of outside weird A&R guy or weird person at some other label telling us their perspective of what they think they should do and causing friction within the project. It's like a big family, right? A Big Noise, which is great. And we've had so much fun putting out, you know, the last 2 records and what will be our 3rd record coming up through Big Noise. And, yeah, it's just been nice to have that creative platform and that kind of freedom to be able to make those decisions between the artist and the label. And it's everyone in the same room together, just like collectively, pushing the project forward in a positive way. So it's been cool.
Hell yeah. And have to give a big shout out to the Big Noise team. I'm definitely going to be missing some names when I give a shout out. Definitely got to give a shout out to Josh, Heather. Obviously got to give a shout out to Feldy. Got to give a shout out to Adam.
Dude.
John Cohen as well, who's our president. Legend, you know, started Vagrant Records back in the day, to all kinds of things. So yeah, it's a great group of people, and we've been excited and fortunate to be on it.
I love the shirt from the first show. I went to Girlfriend's first show and all I got was this t-shirt.
Yeah, we kind of had to do it. The only thing is that we didn't sell out of all of them at the first show.
Yeah.
So now I think we still have like 20 or 30. I went to Girlfriend's first show and all I got was this shirts.
But it could make sense for someone who came to their first Girlfriend show to get it.
Yeah.
It could.
Yeah. It's just kind of like ironic now.
Yeah.
I mean, a limited run of 2 of them per first show of each tour.
Yeah, right?
Dude, remember that guy who showed up to our merch tent at Warped Tour that had that old school Girlfriends shirt from like I feel like it was one of the first shirts that we ever produced. Yeah. It's cool seeing kids come up with old shirts that you don't even remember kind of making, that like almost look, you know.
Well, no, and he wore the shit out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like, dude, it was like completely faded. Yeah. There was like holes in the shoulder, and I'm like,
it was like a 2005.
Yeah, but I'm like, dude, we put this shirt out like 3 years ago. Like, he's like, it's my favorite shirt. I'm like, I can tell, dude.
It was cool.
Hey man, do you need a master class on how to do laundry?
Yeah. No, it was amazing. I think he had a Girlfriend's tattoo as well.
Yeah,
he had a logo like tattooed on his like arm.
That was gonna be my next question, because your second single was Tattoo, or 3rd single?
No, that came out after. That was like in between our first and second album. We put that song out, and it was a song called Tattoo. Yeah. And we actually shout out Christina. She got a tattoo of the word tattoo on her arm
for the single cover
with the Girlfriends logo for the single cover that we took a photo of, and that was the cover. And I saw her at Warped Tour. She came up to the signing, and literally, I mean, that thing ain't going anywhere. It's a tattoo of tattoo.
Now, you guys did the release show at a tattoo shop, and we're giving out, I think, free flash tattoos, if I remember right.
Yeah, we like threw and we screened the music video at the tattoo shop, and we had like, I think 1 or 2 tattoo artists the entire night. So if you came and you wanted to get some tattoos on the house, that was really fun.
That was a good idea. I mean, yeah. I mean, not to spoil it, but if we do put out a song called Garbage next, maybe we can do our next release party at a garbage disposal.
Just put everyone on a trash truck.
Yeah, put them in a trash truck. No, that was sick though. Yeah, like having that tattoo party and kind of little pop up. And we released it like 3 hours before the event. And we didn't know if anyone was going to show up. And then it was tons of kids. It was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you see the kids and the fans who got tattoos still coming out to Girlfriend shows?
Dude, yeah, of course. And like, it was really cool to see some of them again. And you know, people who've gotten tattoos, whether it's like 2 years ago, to then people who are like, hey, sign this, because after Warped Tour, I'm going to a tattoo shop and I'm going to get this tattooed on me.
That's always the weirdest thing for me, when someone puts their arm out and is like, sign your signature or whatever. Can Travis and you sign your signature on my arm because I'm going to go get it tattooed after? I'm like, what? Like, you're going to get a tattoo of our signatures? I'm like,
or they're like, hey, can you write these lyrics? And I'm like, dude, my handwriting sucks.
And they're like, we don't care.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm like really just trying to like draw a great W, you know, and not butcher it. Yeah. It's definitely it's a lot of
like, I feel so bad for this person, but here you go.
Be honest, have you fucked up any lyrics that someone's gotten tattooed on them?
No, thankfully. No. Yeah, never like misspelled anything or kind of messed up the lyrics.
Other than my hand spelled tattoo TATU.
Yeah. That
It's just a different way of spelling.
Hey, that's my favorite band, dude.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
I just feel bad for my handwriting because it sucks.
I think it was Water Park's fan didn't check.
No, and then they changed the actual song title to the person who got the fan tattoo. That was really cool. That was cool to see.
Such a cool thing.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if you were singing lyrics differently because you messed them up.
Dude, I fuck up lyrics all the time.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Like
Oh, yeah.
every night before a show, I'm like on like literally Apple Music looking at the lyrics like on the site being like, okay, that word's there. Okay. And then I'll like kind of practice. I was on the golf cart in Long Beach listening to our new song West Coast being like, okay, no, first verse is this. And sometimes, dude, on set lists, I'll write out like words so that I don't forget them.
Our biggest challenge as a band is always sometimes we'll go in the studio and we're like, let's try and make a song with like 3 words, because there's been like our first album, Travis and I always are like, dude, there's so many words on verses and things like that. Like,
Which we didn't find out until later when we actually start playing the songs. I'm like, yo, why is there so many fucking lyrics?
there's so many lyrics, but it's always hard. It's like, why can't we make a song just with 3 words? It would be so much easier to remember.
Yeah. As the crowds grow, it makes it a little bit easier to forget the lyrics. I could assume.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, that always helps. But dude, I've fucked up songs that we've had like from album 1 where like even on the Avril tour there was nights where I'd be like, and I've played these songs hundreds of times, but I just and I just go straight gibberish mode, dude. Like
that is why they invented teleprompters there.
I've never been able to use one.
You did mention it though on tour. You're like, I think I need a teleprompter.
Yeah, but I'd be like, oh, that would be so cool to have a teleprompter. But you just better make sure that whoever's running it is like on, because if I look down, I'm gonna have a Ron Burgundy moment where I'm just gonna read whatever is on the screen. And then I'll just double fuck up.
You're doing Ghosted. You're doing the Apple Music show. How do you mentally prepare to get into Travis from Girlfriends mode to get on stage?
Dude, this might be a boring answer. I don't feel like I have to, and this is what I love about the band. It's not a character, So like, and same thing like with the MTV show and just with my Apple stuff. It's like I'm not pretending to be anyone I'm not. So it's really easy because I just got to show up and just be myself, like as authentic as I possibly can. And I think that the beauty of the band is that I can be extremely vulnerable about the things that I struggle with and, my ups and downs and the highs and lows of life. And I think that's led to like us being able to really connect with people who listen to our music and, have some beautiful conversations after shows. And you helped me with this when I was struggling. It's like, dude, it's so cool that, I can kind of turn pain into purpose and help people.
That's an incredible answer and really inspiring too to hear, because for me, and I'm going to get into this with Nick too, like for me it's hard to go from like interviewer mode to like DJ mode to like get on the phone and actually talk business and not be a total like,
no, dude, we were talking in the parking lot. We were having like just similar conversations as this, man. No, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. But Nick, how do you handle it? Because even like before the interview, you're on a business call, you're always doing something like between your charity, between Big Noise, between playing in 2 different bands. How do you compartmentalize?
Yeah, I mean that's like where I get my flow, and like my best source of energy is staying busy and connecting dots and connecting pieces and staying active. And I've always felt like I kind of have this left side of my brain, creativity, blended with the right side, business side of things. And I feel like for sometimes a lot of artists only carry that true artist creativity side, which is amazing. And some people are just really great at business and can't pick up a drumstick or play a guitar note. So the fact that I feel like I kind of balance both sides, I just try and leverage that. And I feel like I, staying busy and staying active and putting plays together and just working hard, right? And like I get my kind of best state of flow by being that person. And it's not for everybody, it's not for everybody to have all kinds of things going on and different stuff. But for me, I feel like that's who I am and what I enjoy.
Yeah, and you do it so well too, which is really cool to see from afar.
Dude, I think in 2025, it's cool to care.
Yeah.
Like the whole era of just like, I don't know, anarchist rock star, like, who cares, man? Like, let's flip it all over and burn it all down. Like, dude, it's cool to like take pride in what you do and like want to do a good job and like, you know, want to be there and like have responsibilities. I mean, you know, at least that's how I feel. And like, that's how you get, you know, sense of like accomplishments and like have pride in your work and like what you want to do with your life. You know?
Sure.
And like, yeah, I mean, when I was 19, I was a child, you know. It was like, there were so many opportunities that I missed out on because I was like, who needs to do this, you know? And I look back and I'm like, man, I'm really glad I'm not like that anymore.
Yeah. It's never been like a forced thing either, where it's like, I have to do all these things to stay busy, but it's like, it's been a very organic process of how a lot of the things in our lives and in my life has happened, you know, like my Find Your Grind education platform came through my recording studio, bringing kids to my recording studio space to introduce them to what a career path in music looks like. And I'm like, how do I do this across hundreds of careers? And then we took that on tour to speak to kids about what's possible. And so everything's kind of like intersected in a very organic, natural way to where all of a sudden, 10 years later, there's 10 things to manage, but all those things kind of make sense with each other because of that natural progression. So, you know, it makes sense to manage it all because it all makes sense in the wider scheme of things.
Definitely. And now between like musically and just in life in general, between Big Noise, Find Your Grind, the bands all throughout, and just your life in general, what's been the most inspiring thing musically and the most inspiring thing as a personal thing that you found through one of your outlets so far?
Jeez, Fish. I mean,
just giving us the tough
my
ones.
goodness. Yeah. What's been the most inspiring thing musically so far?
Yeah.
Gosh. I mean, I think being able to put out this first record for Girlfriends was a really inspiring musical moment for me to see, you know, what we think is a really successful outcome of that, of like, you know, having people like Travis Barker on our album was incredible. And like people like Bert from The Used and acts that we grew up listening to come on a first record of a band, I never thought was possible. So for me, that was like a very creatively inspiring thing to have, you know, kind of these legends from areas of worlds that we grew up listening to and super inspired by, that shaped a lot of our lives, to come on a first record was probably one of my favorite creative moments that I've had in the studio and building a project out. That would probably be my initial response to that.
It's pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
I think the most inspiring thing for me musically is just, the live show, right? Like getting to go out and play all these incredible venues, things that, you know, have been bucket list moments for us. And I say this all the time, but, you know, as an artist, it's like you lock yourself in a room for like 8 to 10 hours a day for months at a time. And I think the reward for that is getting to go and do it live and see people connect, you know, to all of the hours and days and months of hard work that you did behind the scenes that no one really gets to see.
Now, as an interviewer, do you have a little bit different of a perspective of doing press? And has there been a moment during an interview that's been super inspiring to you that kind of reset you? Because I've been very fortunate. I've been able to talk to younger artists like The Paradox, Knox, John Harvey, but then I also get to talk to bands like you guys, All Time Low, 5 Seconds of Summer, and everyone. And I get so inspired after a conversation with a kid like Knox or The Paradox, and obviously with you guys too.
I was just with them literally this week.
Really?
Yeah, doing that as well. And what's cool is that we hung with their band in Atlanta when we were on the Avril tour, and we kind of like met them like side stage and then just stayed friends. And, you know, it's been really cool to watch their rise. I think the most inspiring thing from all these conversations that I get to have is just the relatability of like, man, we're all just trying to make the best music that we can. We're all trying to figure out what the hell we're doing. No one has a crystal ball. No one has like the perfect roadmap. And so you kind of just show up, you know, do your thing, and you put the music out, and hopefully people like it, and, you know, you just keep doing it. It's not like I don't think there's like a destination. With creativity, it's not like you kind of achieve something and then you're done. It's like, all right, well, what's the next thing? And how do you just continually stay inspired? Back to the Feldy thing of like writing a song every single day for the rest of your life. But it's like, no, just show up today and write a song.
Yeah.
And then when you wake up tomorrow, just do the same thing.
I love that. Hell yeah. So you guys just started dropping new music this summer.
Yep.
And I assume because you guys are playing Warped Tour live in front of, like 30,000 people, you probably should have some new music out, which is awesome to
That would
see.
be a good idea.
Yeah, that was a thought.
I'm glad we thought of that.
Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic idea.
We didn't miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
Because you guys only dropped one song last year, right? Shut Up and Kiss Me?
Yeah, we put out one song last year, and that's why we knew, like, going into 2025, like, we need to just put out some really incredible music. Obviously, the two songs that we put out, Landslide and West Coast, they're a part of a bigger body of work, but put out Landslide, something for the crowd to get them amped up before DC, and then when you're gonna play Warped Tour Long Beach in California, why not West Coast? We're on the best coast in the whole world, and so yeah, that felt just like perfect.
Now, I don't know if you did this on purpose. I know a lot of bands do put little Easter eggs in their songs. You start West Coast off with California, and in my opinion, maybe it's because it's the same guy singing it, kind of sounds like the intro to California, the way you say it. Is that an intentional little Easter egg you're going to keep putting, or was that kind of accidental?
I don't think it was. I mean, look, we are very aware that one of like our biggest song arguably is California. And we were very aware of that when we made West Coast. Mm-hmm. But it's like, all right, well, how do we not just make like another version of California, but like the sentiment, it was just like, man, struggling with, I think the reality that we all face of like, dude, one day we're not going to be here anymore, and like, while that's a almost scary thing, it's kind of beautiful. Like when you love somewhere so much, that like this is where you're going to take your last breath. I think California for us, like sentimentally, was this place that people come to make their dreams come true, and more often than not you realize that that's not the case, right? And like, I mean, we've heard all of the stories, we've seen all of the movies. Green Day set like Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and it's like, man, this place has kind of chewed me up and spit me out and like fucked me up, and I'm dealing with all this anxiety, and like West Coast was more of a love letter to where we grew up.
That's really cool to hear. From a fan perspective, when I heard it, I was like, wow, this is the rebirth of Girlfriends right now, because I heard,
Thank you, man.
I heard West Coast first, and then I heard Landslide, and West Coast, I was like, all right, this is cool. It's like a rebirth. Then I heard Landslide. I'm like, they're so back. This sounds like album one. This is fucking sick.
Dude, thank you, man.
Nice.
And it's a weird thing to say. They're back to their old sound, considering you guys are less than 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does sound weird.
But it does feel, we felt the same way. Like,
Yeah.
we feel the same exact way. And I know that that's weird to say because, we've only put out 2 records. But I think it's just a testament too to like being back in the studio with Feldy and just having fun writing songs. Because before the first album came out, like we hadn't even played a show yet.
Yeah.
We were
You're
we were just like fucking around in the studio, seeing what we could make. And I think we kind of took that approach with this album as well.
Yeah. I listened to album 3 now, which I think is by far our best album to date. We're so excited about the songs and how this whole thing turned out. I feel like it's sonically in so much of a different lane than what album 1 was, from songs to how they're written to how they sound to the things that we did. And like, it definitely feels like the perfect progression for Girlfriends, this next record. And I couldn't be more excited to be putting this thing out.
But we're also taking huge leaps in terms of like, there's a song on the record that's like, what the fuck? Like I remember, we wrote this song and like, but when Nick went in to cut drums, you hadn't even like heard the full thing yet.
Are you talking about?
Yeah. While you were cutting drums, like he's literally playing to the song without even hearing the whole thing yet. Just because that's like, how good he is, but he's listening to this and I'm getting to watch from like the control room and his face is just like,
yeah,
what the fuck is
it was awesome. It was so cool because everything was programmed before, they had written the song a day before. I wasn't able to be there, and so I came in and they're like, hey, we did this song yesterday, you want to hear it? And I'm in the studio, he starts playing it in the headphones and I'm like, dude, I'm tracking to that right now. And it's a song called Mouth Like a Loaded Gun, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, it's the heavier side of things that Girlfriends hasn't totally gone down.
But it's so fun to be able to just make a song like that,
And, I mean, you guys are so musically versatile. It makes so much sense that you would have a heavier song at this point.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
we kind of touched on earlier in the interview about the Warped Tour 2012 lineup with like MGK, G-Eazy, and everyone, and Mod Sun, of course, on it. And you've gotten to tour with a handful of those artists who were on that Warped 2012 lineup with girlfriends now. Talk about how important it is to keep those relationships through all the projects and all the years, because those are brotherhoods and like just, it's more than a friendship that's formed in that parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think it just speaks to like the authenticity of what we're all doing, you know? Like anyone can kind of hop on the internet and be like, oh, like whatever, you guys are, you know, it's trendy now. Warped Tour's cool now. And it's like, dude, we've been doing this shit since like we got called names in high school for like liking certain bands, you know, like before social media even existed. And I think like the real ones know.
Yeah.
You know, if you were like out there, like, you know, you can't fake that. Like you can't rewind time and rewrite history. And so it's just like everyone's kind of seen all of the hard work that we've all kind of put into this, all of the years just spent grinding back when like shit wasn't cool to like, you know, and like there's like a respect level there. And I think that's just like, yeah, a testament to what Nick and I have done, you know, throughout our lives. And also like, you gotta give that back too. It's like, man, I saw you playing on, you know, this stage. I remember when you played this venue, or I was here with this, and, you know, you have like those memories together, and that, I mean, those are things that'll last forever.
And moments you can't recreate.
Correct. Yeah, you can't hop in a time machine and say you were at something that you weren't.
Yeah.
You know?
You can't hop in a time machine and see MGK play all the small things at Warped 2012.
Or like climb up on the scaffolding. You know, I think he was playing the Monster Stage in 2012, and like Kenny from Warped was like, what are you down. And dude, I bought a pit bike. Like I had a little 50 that I was rolling around, you know, backstage with like a little motorcycle. And like there's photos like me, Kels, and Maud, like, you know, on the motorcycle. I'm towing Maud on a skateboard and he's like eating shit behind me. Like, dude, just it was like the best summer of my life, man. It was like Rockstar summer camp.
So cool. I remember, I think it was 2007 or 2008, one of the first years I went, Mayday Parade was playing the Ernie Ball stage, and people were standing on top of the porta potties that were set up over there at Nassau Coliseum.
Well, dude, I was like watching old Bring Me videos, and I think they were on like the same stage. This must have been like 2006, 2007. And it's just crazy, like seeing Ollie and the band like on a tiny, I mean, dude, it's like as big as this couch, and they're up there just going crazy.
Yeah, it's so insane. So anytime I don't feel inspired, I watch old Warped Tour videos. Specifically, A Day to Remember playing Downfall of Us All in 09.
And then you see it this year. And like literally, like I thought, you know, Long Beach was gonna crack in half, and like, you know, we're all gonna sink into the ocean, because I feel like every person at the festival was at their set.
Yep. Easily.
Insane.
Between their set and Bowling for Soup, I feel like not a single person at that festival missed either of those bands.
Wild, dude. Well deserved too, by the way.
Exactly.
Like, extremely well deserved.
So I got a couple more questions for you guys. If you had advice for an up and coming artist or band that's coming up in the scene right now, what advice would you give them? Because you've clearly shown you are going to be here forever, and you are a staple in the scene. You've been here in the scene for like 15 plus years at this point, and one of the most likable people in the scene as well.
No, dude, you are far too kind to us.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
We're not that likable.
Man, you know, it's a tough question to answer, because I feel like we're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
It's like what I said before, like, dude, there's no like magic manager or booking agent or record label, or like there's no perfect game plan that, you know, will give you all the answers and is like a guaranteed shot at success. I think everyone's still just kind of figuring it out, and, you know, it's like capitalizing on the moments, and when they come, make sure that you're ready for it, have good people around you, and do the best you can. I'm sorry if that's a lame answer, but like if you ask anyone like, dude, what's like your recipe for success, and they give you like a fucking A, B, C, D, E, they're lying to you.
Yeah. I mean, I think somewhat, if there is a recipe, it probably comes down to consistency, to Travis's point, and like discipline and doing stuff over and over, and the repetition of it, and the true love for it, which keeps that consistency possible. And I think the love for it has to come from the authenticity of who you are as a human being, right? Into the reason why you want to authentically speak, you know, the things you have inside of you and the art that you want to create and all that. So I think it comes down to like authenticity, consistency, determination, having a clear sight of what your goals are and what you want to achieve out of it, and what success means to you. And then also too, I mean, I think Travis brought up a really good point like a year ago, to a similar question. And like, I think there's a huge power in cultivating what that first like 100 fans looks like for you as an artist, you know? And you know, having a core, extremely passionate group of fans of 1,000 people versus, you know, 100,000 passive people just kind of bypass listening to your music in the background, I think there's such a power in that. So it's like, how do you find ways to build that core fan group, even if it's your first 100, and keep them around in ways where you're, you know, just building an allegiance to what you're doing.
Well, I mean, we're seeing that like in the scene right now, and that's why bands like Spirit Box and Knocked Loose are Grammy nominated. You know, that's why, like, you know, My Chemical Romance can sell out the Dodger Stadium two nights in a row. Like, you know, these bands didn't go chase number ones at radio. They didn't go and like try to be anything that they weren't. They were just true to who they were. People resonated with the music. And now, you know, for My Chemical, like, you know, 20 something years later, you're getting to see it on the biggest level possible.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because even in like the hype, like when you know 3 Cheers came out, like and they popped, like they couldn't go sell out Dodger Stadium. No, it's like it's a time and like repetition and just like consistency thing where like, you know, you can't eat the fruit the day you plant the tree. You know,
man, you guys have said some incredible stuff throughout this interview, but the thing that's replaying in my head right now, what's success mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it can look different to everyone, but that's the hardest part, because you have these natural depictions of what you're kind of forced to think through societal norms, what success looks like. The money, the sold out arenas, the fancy car, whatever that is. It's like, I feel like those are the societal pressures and those unrealistic, unnecessary forms of what success look like for young people. But dude, I'm telling you, like, success to me has been so much about this process and this journey, not this perceived destination of where, you know, we think the end most successful thing is going to be when we finally sell out 15,000 people arenas or whatever. Like, all that will be nice. Those are nice to haves, but this journey we've been on, and like the fun we're having in all these little moments of like these little one battles over and over again of like, that's the fun part. That's the success for me, is just like seeing how fun the ride has been and how it continues to go. And like, I think that's what creates happiness and fulfillment, is being in the moment of where we are right now and not having these end destination perceptions of what we think success will look like.
Because there's trappings of success too. And I think that's why you see certain artists, you know, who are, I mean, just huge, but like if you have a number in your head of what a song should stream and you don't hit that, you know, it's like, you can have all these amazing things happening, but if you base like, you know, your identity around a number or a dollar figure or whatever, it's why you see like so many quote unquote successful artists like hate life and like they're just like unhappy.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, yeah, I feel like Nick's point, it's like, man, fall in love with the process. And like, yo, if I show up today and like we make a great song, I had a good day.
Yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah. And speaking of making songs, I got one last question for you guys. If you guys were to collaborate with one Warped Tour artist, living or past, who would you collaborate with?
Oh man.
I mean,
you guys already have collaborated with the big legends. I mean, Feldy, Burt.
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw one out. Like, I would love, it'd be cool to do something with Pierce the Veil. I mean, we went on tour with them in 2023, which was the coolest thing ever, seeing their kind of super rise over these last 2 years. But obviously, legendary Warped Tour band, right? And so that would be a fun one for me to see kind of.
I saw Vic in Long Beach. I gave him a big hug, dude. Nice. It was really cool to hang with him for a little bit. Ooh, that's a great question, man. Huh. I will say I think, you know what? I think a song with All American Rejects would
Oh yeah, that'd
really
be great.
Yeah. I feel like doing a girlfriend's All American, like All American
killer.
Girlfriends. All American
Girlfriends.
Yeah, would be a cool song.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm putting it out there right now before we end Adobe Warped Radio. There needs to be an All American Rejects Girlfriends backyard show with a Travis DJ set as well.
Epic.
Dude, and you know what?
in.
It's like kind of the perfect time because they're going over and just playing all these houses right now.
Yep.
So let's make it happen,
go.
man.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming by Adobe Warped Radio. You guys absolutely crushed it at 2 of the 3 Warped Tour dates so far. You guys have a huge year ahead of you with new music. You guys have had a huge 5 years behind you with new music and touring. Travis, Nick, thank you guys so much for coming by Adobe Warped Radio.
Well, we'll do this again in 2031.
Adobe Warped Radio.